guys, May here, and today I am doing the second part of my ranking my Ultimate Biases albums video tag. It's not really a tag kind of thing. I am doing Super Junior's albums today. I have 9 of them here. I'm doing all of the Korean releases that they've done thus far as a group. Well, I have ranked the title tracks before. Again, this is not just off of title tracks, it's off of all of the songs on the album, and this is how I would rank them personally. And I just want to say before I rank them that I do love all of these albums, and I still would rank the last place album above a lot of other groups' albums in my personal opinion. I ranked the title tracks before, like I said, so I will leave my links to Super Junior title tracks and my top Infinite title tracks, as well as my video for ranking Infinite's albums if you're interested in checking those videos out too. Oh, also I forgot to say that I 99.9% of the time like Super Junior's normal album title tracks more than the repack. If you're like thinking, well, what are you doing like with the... I usually like the album as a whole a lot better than the repack, so for the most part I'm counting just the regular album, but I do take into consideration the repack as well when I do full-length albums. For Infinite that wasn't really a big deal, but for Super Junior all they have is full-length albums basically, so I had to do that. Go get started with number 9. Number 9 is the debut album. The debut album. This was released in 2005. Obviously, this is like 10 years old at this point, because obviously Super Junior just turned 10. It's just a different time now, and I do like the songs. Like I really enjoyed the songs, like I said, but it's definitely... Super Junior's come a long way since this album, and I think that that should be respected. It's not like I don't love this album, like I really, really do, and I think that this, with all of the members here, is really, really nice. I don't like how Shindong has very few lines here. I mean, he has, like, compared to something else I'm going to talk about, he has a pretty good amount of lines, but, yeah, I think line distribution was iffy here, but it still kind of showed off everybody. Also, KRY wasn't complete yet at this time, and you're going to see that when KRY is not complete, I'm not happy. Kyuhyun wasn't in the group yet at this point, but still a very quality album. I appreciate how it's a jewel case. I actually really do, because it's really easy to store, and it just screams 2005 at you, doesn't it? It screams 2005. Like look at it. They're all so cute. They're all so little. My second least favorite album. I think you guys know this, but it's not. I don't talk about it as much as season 2. It's just because I feel like I'm the only one who didn't like this as much as everybody else. At least a couple of my In-Spirit friends felt the same way about season 2 as I did. But the next album is actually a pretty recent album. It's Mamacita by Super Junior. This came out my sophomore year of college, so it's a little over a year old. And there's a couple of things with this album. First of all, like I said, when KRY isn't complete, I'm not happy, and Ye-sung is missing from this album, and I knew when they were going to come back without Ye-sung that I wasn't going to be completely happy with it. It felt weird them coming back. The concept was something they'd never done before. It was very interesting, and I liked the music video for Mamacita, but it's just not something I'd ever want them to do again. I don't know, I've never talked about my dislike for this album really on this channel before, so I feel very weird saying this, but I've always felt that Mamacita is my least favorite, like, most recent full-length album from them. It's the season 2 of Super Junior for me. Don't like how they use This Is Love as the repack. When I heard that, because my hopes got up for the repack, they always do, and I never really end up liking the song as much as the original song, which is fine. Like, I still like it, but just never really as much as the original song. When I heard that This Is Love was going to be the repack song, I was like, okay, but I like that song, but like, why? Why didn't they create a new song? How it upsets me that This Is Love has other new songs on it, but This Is Love is the title track. It's not a repack, that's a follow-up song that's taking something off the original album and promoting that. Like, that's what not 17 really, I guess, but Monsta X has done before, and Infinite's done it before, and it's like a kind of a normal thing to just promote another song on the album instead of releasing a repack. A repack can technically be defined as another comeback if you really want to define it that way. I don't like to define it that way, but it could be. I was disappointed when they did that. I was very disappointed in SM. At least one thing a year disappoints me from SM, so yeah, I'm just sad that it was this. My next least favorite is something you guys were probably expecting to be pretty early on, is the U single, because I like me lots of songs, and if you don't give me lots of songs, I tend to not like it as much as a full-length album, usually. Obviously I have some exceptions for that rule, but this is the U single. My other problem with the U single is how they kind of ignore the fact that Shinjong's in this group. The way that they used to look at Shindong in the group has always been kind of a sensitive thing with me, and I just don't really appreciate how in the single he doesn't have any lines, and you can kind of, if you're looking hard for him, you can find him, but besides that, pretty hard to see him in the music video, so that's a thing. I do like the song though. It's actually one of my favorite title tracks from them, and it was the first Super Junior song that I saw that I knew it was Super Junior. That's why it's higher than the other two things I just talked about, because it is one of my favorite songs and I really like it. The jewel case is really cute though, and actually for a while when I was collecting Super Junior albums, I forgot to write this down as part of the Korean collection, and I was like, what am I doing? What am I actually doing? This is definitely a big part of the Korean collection, especially for me, because it was the first song that I heard from them that I knew it was them. I guess this is when Kyuhyun joined too, so like I guess that's another reason it's higher than the other two albums I just talked about, was because KRY was complete for the first time here and it made me happy. Yeah, this. Number 6 I believe we're at right now. 9, 8, 7. Yeah, number 6 is Super Junior's Sorry Sorry. This is the third album, and I actually originally ranked this a little lower, and then I was like, wait, but I really like this. I really like this album. It says a lot because the albums I'm going to talk about after this are that I really like. You really can't get me to move on any of the albums that I haven't talked about yet, really. But for this one, I think it's because that I really liked it when it first came out. I listened to all the songs, loved this album, didn't own it until after I owned the 4th album, but it's still an amazing album. I still really like it, but I think that I've kind of outgrown it in a way, is that when I listen to the songs, I get that kind of like nostalgia feeling, but I don't get the, oh, I really want to listen to this song. It's just kind of like I've listened to it so much at this point that I would choose newer music over this at this point. But Sorry Sorry, whenever it comes on, I have this rule. I have a couple rules for my shuffle, like when Heechul was in the army, I couldn't skip any of his solo songs. With M&D or any Heechul song, I couldn't skip any Heechul song, but I have this eternal rule that I can't skip Sorry Sorry, because it was the one that got me like really interested in Super Junior. I was like, I need to find out who this group is. I need to know who they are. It's really important to me that I know who they are. So this album's always been very important to me, but it has quite a few favorites on for me. I really like the Heartquake song, which features Yuno and Yuchun of TVXQ, JYJ, you know, and Club Number 1 is really good, Dead at Heart, Monster, and Why I Like You are my other favorites on this album. All the songs are really good on this. This is actually a really solid album, and you know, after I like go a little bit without listening to it all the way through, I listened to it all the way through today, actually. I was listening to it because I was double checking this before I like sat down to film, and I was like, you know, because I haven't heard it in a while, I get that same feeling that I got the first time I listened to it, where I was like, this is really good, and I definitely think that this was, their repack song for this was actually really good too, and I really like that. Yeah, sorry. Number 5 is 2 albums because I couldn't decide which one to bring in here, so I brought both of them in here. It's Devil and Magic. This is the newest release from Super Junior for their 10th anniversary. The reason I like the songs, arguably a lot more than a couple of other albums I'm going to talk about, in a way just kind of makes me sad, because it's going to be a while until they release another album as a group, and they did not really promote this that much, which made me really sad, especially because Infinite was like doing the full promotions right when they were doing like the, you know, we have people going to the army like now, so, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I thought I was gonna hate this actually at first when I heard about this. I didn't talk about it because I didn't want to say anything before I knew for a fact, but I'm like that with a lot of Super Junior things. It's probably because I've just been with them for so long. I just feel like I shouldn't say anything before I know for a fact that it's true, but I was wrong about this, so it's a good thing I didn't say anything. I was worried about the subunit songs being all the songs on the album because subunits are very busy in Super Junior, and we get a lot of subunit songs, so I feel like getting, and solo songs, so I feel like getting those on a full album for Super Junior was like pointless in a way. I really liked it. I really like a lot of the subunit songs on this album. Don't Wake Me Up is probably my favorite song. It's a Day&Night song, but I also really like Alright, which is a full group song, and then Simply Beautiful and We Can is so amazing, and Forever With You, which is the SJM song, if I remember correctly, and Stars Appear is so pretty. I also really, from Magic, because there's other songs on Magic, really like Sarang, You Got It, it's fun. You Got It's a really fun song. Don't Wake Me Up though is definitely my favorite, which is weird because it's a D&E song and I have so much D&E, really. It's just like, why would I even want another D&E song? Because D&E songs are great, that's why. But number 5 of these. Number 4 and number 3, I was very torn about where to put them, and I still don't know if this is exactly how I would rank them, but I've switched them like 4 times, so you can just, I'll probably talk about them pretty back to back, but I was too lazy to, the way that my Jonghyun and Kyuhyun versions of Mr. Simple sit on my shelf are kind of a pain to get down without just disrupting everything, so I brought in Acha instead. But the 5th album is my number 4, and the reason that I'm so like weird about this is because Acha, or not Acha, I guess Mr. Simple was like the sorry for me again, in the fact that when it came out I just was obsessed with every single song, and Opera is one of my top SJ songs. I would say non-title track, but they did release it in Japan, so I feel like I can't say that, but Adante, which is on Acha, actually, it's not on Mr. Simple, Sunflower, Walking, Be My Girl, Good Friends, Feels Good, Memories. I have listened to this album through so many times, and it's to the point, oh, My Love, My Kiss, My Heart, I think that's a KRY song if I remember correctly. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Do you understand why I need KRY now? Because everything KRY does is perfect. And then the Oops song, which is on Acha featuring FX. I love that. I still listen to that literally all the time. And then Superman, which was released on version B, and it's also on Acha as well. So good. I literally just told you the entire track list. The entire track list, and that's how much I love the 5th album from Super Junior, which is such a weird number for me to be obsessed with, but it's true. And it, like, every time I look at this, I'm like, but remember that time that I like was obsessed with this song or this album, this in everything on this album? Remember that time? So whenever I rank it, like when I was ranking these, I was like, am I sure though? Like I'm pretty sure that it's either number 3 or number 4, but I also, number 3 is, this is set up on my shelf in a way that it's really easy to pull down, like Reality. I just don't like version B. This version's so interesting. The Shirts Off thing is just very boy band, and this is just flowers and forests and antlers. But Sexy Friend single, which you can't see the track list here, so I have to open it up. This is another album like Mr. Simple that when Sexy Friend single came out, I was obsessed with From You. I think that From You is probably one of the most listened to tracks from that album for me. Someday is beautiful. Gulliver. I didn't like Gulliver the first time I heard it, but then I just kept wanting to hear it, you know? Like you listen to something and it's so annoying that you need to hear it again, and now I'm obsessed with it. I've been obsessed with it. Daydream, A Goodbye. Oh, A Goodbye. Now and Rockstar are really fun too. And again, I literally just told you Butterfly, is, again, I just told you literally the entire track list. The 5th and 6th album is just a very good era of Super Junior for me, and it's one that I can never overlook and is really hard to impress, and that's why I think Mamacita again is so low, is because the 5th and 6th were so perfect, and then the 7th just didn't meet up to my standards from the 5th and 6th, but they redeemed themselves with Devil and Magic, so don't worry about that. I was a little worried for a second when Mamacita came out, but I was like, I'm just gonna wait for Yeon to come back because then everything will be okay again, and guess what? Everything's okay. You can't split up KRY. You can't, I don't know what I'm gonna do when Ryuk and Kyuhyun go into the army this year. I'm gonna be so sad, and I need that KRY full album to exist in my life. I don't care if it's in Japan or Korea, I just need it. I honestly just need it to make it through the next 2 years. I guess it's really depending on my mood, which one's 3 and which one's 4, but just consider these like the same place, really. I suck at ranking, you guys know this. Only 2 albums left, and I think the reason that this album is still number 1 and I couldn't really move it from its number 1 place is because just, you know. But we're gonna talk about number 2 for a second. Number 2 is really important to me. It's Bonomana, and Bonomana is still, like I said, to this day, one of my favorite things from Super Junior. This packaging, however, is my least favorite thing in the entire world, and if SM ever tries to bring it back, I will fly to Korea and light their building on fire, because that's just not an okay thing to do. It's just, I'll make sure everybody's safe and everybody's out of the building before I light it on fire, except whoever decided that this was a good idea. They need to stay inside, because this is between the SHINee albums I own that have this, and I'm very glad that I don't own the FX album that has this, because the SHINee, My Lucifer, and Ring Ding Dong albums drive me crazy, and I have 2 copies of this because there's 2 covers of it, and it's just, let's talk about the music on this, because the music makes up for literally everything. Also, Heechul's hair in this concept makes up for literally everything, and Sungmin's hair, except I remember having problems with it back when it was his current hair, but like, oh, I don't want to say that the rose that Donghae like has in the Bonomana music video influenced this decision by any means, but like, let's be real here. So Shake It Up is something I listen to probably still on a weekly basis. Boom Boom is amazing. Coagulation I don't listen to that much, but everything else, Good Person, Here We Go. Here We Go is such a fun song, I love that song. And Shake It Up, In My Dream, One Fine Spring Day, My All Is In You. Ugh. But I think if we were comparing Bonomana and Boom Boom and Here We Go to everything else I've talked about so far, I think it would still probably be second, because I've been obsessed with these songs since 2010. Since Infinite debuted, I've been obsessed with these Super Junior songs. Also, this is really important to me because it was my first comeback as a Super Junior, as an elf. It was my first comeback, and I was just really excited about it, and I was like, oh, look at them performing on stages and stuff. And this is one of the, No Other was the repack, right? No Other is one of the few songs, one of the few repacks I like more than not more than the original, but I like it probably even, but I listened to it literally so much when it came out, and I was camping with my friend and I just listened to it so much. Bonomana I listened to while I was doing what was it, like a 18-hour walk for cancer. This came out right before, and it was on repeat for 18 hours. 18 and I was awake like 16 and a half of those hours. I fell asleep in a chair. I sat down and was like, nope, bye. But when I woke up, it was still playing. Hadn't stopped. So I think this is one of the reasons that this is probably, it is the most played Super Junior song. It's number 1 on my list, I'm pretty sure. The last album, the only one I haven't talked about yet, if you've been paying attention, you already know what this is. It is the 2nd album from Super Junior. First of all, I really like the packaging. Mine is kind of damaged because I got it used, but it's okay. And someday I do plan on getting a better version of it, but not today. Today is not that day. I said something when I talked about twins about how outgrown it. And I said that for twins, or sorry, I think I said it for twins, where it's just not what I want to listen to anymore. But Don't Dawn is very important because there's 14 members here. This is the closest they've ever gotten to having an OT15 release. So that is like a huge reason that this is very important to me. And then all of the songs on this are so good. Midnight Fantasy, Thank You, Hate You, Love You, You're My Endless Love, Sapphire Blue, classic. So on the Don't Dawn is just, it's another one of those things that like is very different for Super Junior. Like Mamacita, it's very different, but it's one of those things that like I wouldn't mind if they did a rock concept again. Like I'd be kind of surprised at this point because they've just done pop for so long since then, but it was one of those things that I was just like very drawn to it right when it came out. And this album is still very different from me, but it's a good different. And so whenever I'm wanting to listen to like Super Junior but not like pop Super Junior, I pull this bad boy out and have a great time. So that is why it's my #1 album. We're not going to talk about the way everybody looks in this album because no, I don't approve of everybody's hair, but we're not going to talk about it. I'm really happy that I did this before I have to package these up tomorrow because who knows when I'll get to see them again. It's going to be very, very weird, them being in boxes. I don't really like the idea of it too much. I'm glad that I did this, and I think that it's a pretty solid list. I don't think it changes besides like, you know, 3 and 4 like I was saying. It doesn't really change too much depending on how I feel. I was gonna put their Japanese album in here, but it's mostly remakes and I don't really care for the Japanese versions as much as the Korean versions for Super Junior. That's just me, you know, that's just personal preference for me. I don't think I'm gonna update this list like every time they come back because they release a lot of stuff, but I think Super Junior is a group that I could rank the subunit albums because their subunits have so much stuff. Literally on my jewel case shelf, it's like those 2 jewel case albums that I showed you, and then like Blue World and like Mr. Simple Japan, and then the rest of it is subunits and opera. I have opera over there too, but the rest of it is all subunits because they just release so much stuff. I know I have a lot of ELF subscribers, so do let me know what your how you would rank Super Junior's albums down in the comments below. And if Super Junior aren't your ultimates and you don't feel like ranking their albums, you can rank your top group albums down in the comment section. I'd love to see those as well. I don't know if I would do this for any other groups because I know Infinite and Super Junior's music better than I know anybody else. like even BTS, even After School, I would say. I could rank After School's albums, but I'm like basically out of time to film for now, so I'll do it eventually. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you very soon. Bye!